I just got out of seeing Him, the new film starring Marlon Wayans and Tyriq Withers, and sat down to write an otherwise glowing review. Then I had a peek at Rotten Tomatoes. What the hell, man? Did we watch the same movie? Hey, I'm Mike. I studied film, I work in TV, and I love movies. When I review a film, I try not to know too much about it before I go in. I might catch a trailer or get a general vibe of the film before watching it, but I try not to read anything, especially if I like the trailer. After the screening, I like to sit on it for a few hours, maybe even overnight, to collect my thoughts on the movie before committing my review to video to live online forever. I usually have a pretty good idea about what I'm going to talk about in my reviews before doing any real research. Most of my research is names, dates, previous work, things like that. In this case, I was looking into director Jordan Tipper's past when I noticed the overwhelmingly negative reviews of this film. As of today, it's got a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. In the first paragraph of the Wikipedia page, it says, quote, "It received generally negative reviews from critics." So let's talk about Him and why I liked it. Him was produced by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions and directed by Justin Tipping. Tipping's debut feature, Kicks, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2016, and then he went on to direct a few episodes of Black Monday, a television series. Him is Tipping's second feature, and as I said, stars Tyriq Withers as Cameron Cade, the top-ranked college football quarterback who's invited to train with legendary pro quarterback for the Saviors, Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans. Both guys are great, and their chemistry is perfect. There is a natural push and pull of two men who are wired the exact same way, but ultimately are rivals vying for the position of starting quarterback. Isaiah's the GOAT. That's the greatest of all time for my Gen X crowd, and wants to run Cade through a week of rigorous training before the Saviors decide to sign Cade or not. Isaiah is thinking of retiring, but only if Cade has what it takes to fill his shoes. Now might be a good time to tell you that I don't really like football. I don't watch it as a sport and would have a hard time coming up with a football movie that I liked. I'm a baseball guy. Recently, I did a live stream talking about my top 5 sports movies, and 3 of the 5 were baseball movies. The other 2 were boxing films. But that doesn't matter because Him isn't a football movie per se. It's about drive, ambition, the quest to be the best, and the sacrifices you're willing to make to achieve it. My read on Him is that the film is a reaction to a generation of kids that were told at a very young age that they could be the best at insert discipline here if they tried really hard. In many ways, Him feels like Damon Chazelle's Whiplash, the movie about drumming, or Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan starring Natalie Portman as an obsessed ballerina. Setting Him apart were Tipping's psychedelic visuals. There are characters in ornate costumes, shots that are beautiful and trippy. He puts the camera inside of a player's helmet and uses a really cool X-ray effect to show us inside the players' bodies. The set design alone is stunning. Some of the masked people reminded me of Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, another favorite of mine. I was asking myself if what we were seeing was real or hallucinations in the mind of Cade, who suffered a traumatic head injury at the beginning of the film and periodically receives unknown injections throughout the training week. The hallucinations get increasingly more bizarre, leading up to the finale, which is just insane. Okay, before I get into spoilers, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll leave you with this. The movie is a mix of Aronofsky's Black Swan, Damon Chazelle's Whiplash, and Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. All of which I love, so this was right up my alley. If you like any of those movies, with a dash of Jordan Peele's sensibilities thrown in for good measure, then run, don't walk to see Him in theaters. Okay, now for the spoilers. Let's talk about the ending, because I have a sneaking suspicion a lot of you walked out thinking, what the hell was that? My take is Cade wanted to be the GOAT so badly that it consumed him. Mix that fierce desire with a concussion and the drugs he was being given, and what we get is a warped version of reality. In a sense, it's like Beau is Afraid, a hallucinogenic look through the character's eyes into something that may or may not have actually happened. Go check out my review of Beau is Afraid, where I talk about what I think is going on there. Him reaches a climax when we discover that Jim Jeffries, the team's doctor, has been infusing Cade's blood with Isaiah's. But more than that, Isaiah's blood has been mixed with the blood of the Savior's quarterbacks going back generations. Just like Tootsie Rolls. Fun fact, with every batch of Tootsie Rolls, a little bit is left behind to mix with the new batch. So technically, there is a little of the original batch of Tootsie Roll from 1896 in every Tootsie Roll you eat. I bet you didn't know that. There is literally a royal bloodline of winning quarterbacks that the cultish owners of the team have been perpetuating. Cade has made it this far, and the only thing standing in his way is Isaiah himself. The two fight gladiator style until Cade finally triumphs. Cade walks out to reap his reward, but realizes that instead of earning his position as QB, he was groomed for it from a very young age. Cade flips out. He refuses to sign the contract and ends up murdering the owners of the team, his agent, and anyone else responsible for putting him through this. But why? All he wanted the whole time was to be the GOAT, was to be him. Similar to Andrew in Whiplash and Nina in Black Swan, the characters wanted something so much, pushed themselves so far, that they lost sight of why they were doing this in the first place. To please their parents. In this sense, it reminded me of kids in middle school, professional batting coaches and Olympic swim coaches and concert-level piano instructors. Kids playing until their fingers bled or they ended up doing harm to themselves. There are stories of 15-year-old kids getting preemptive Tommy John surgery. The ending of him, to me, was a reaction from a kid who has pushed himself so far he's unable to tell what is real and what is not. During the movie, we learned that Cade's father was his biggest supporter, and their last conversation before he died was that he wanted to quit football. After his father's death, he went into overdrive, overcompensating to prove to his dead father that he could be the best. In the end, all Cade wanted was his father back. All he wanted was his family. As I said in my review of Beau is Afraid, take this with a grain of salt. None of this is referenced in the film. This is what I'm bringing to it. This is what I got from the film. And I got that mostly from the visuals that were so trippy that it got me thinking down this path. I really liked him and was very surprised to read the negative reviews, but that's why I always say film is about community. I'd love to read your thoughts on him in the comments below. As always, I'm Mike, and I love movies.